If you're pursuing the best builds, it's probably not Thresh top. Instead, it's probably down there, where you can have a lot of fun socializing with a very reasonable AD carry. But in pursuing the best of the memes, Thresh top, or mid, or bruiser, or whatever, the eternal question is always, AD or AP? I've already covered an AD raid boss style Thresh top, and we may go a bit harder on AD another time later, but almost like an update on our Season 13 AP video, I decided to give a few things a try in top lane with AP Thresh, with an item I've completely underestimated. Or did I? First off, Thresh top has a few strengths and some glaring weaknesses I want to point out as a recap if you don't play it often or are new here. For his strengths, most of his damage centers around his souls, the things you collect on passive. The 1.5 on-hit magic damage is a huge point for both AD and AP builds, but for AP you also get more ability to use the, well, ability power. There's armor too, which is why I tend to favour bruisery or tank builds for Thresh to get more leverage out of that as well. As for his weaknesses, they include not only squishiness without items, but high cooldowns and low range compared to most non-melee champions, as well as a severe lack of safe wave clear. So an item that has been suggested since the beginning of time, and one I built once upon a time as well, was Nashor's Tooth. Its stats have changed a bunch over the years, and if anything it's only got nerfed in Season 14. It lost a little bit of ability power. But that's a short-sighted view of it. You see, in previous seasons it wasn't a bad item at all. But my view on it was that it had stark competition in the on-hit item world. Wit's End did more damage than Nashor's even when he had a good amount of souls and had better stats, and more useful on-hit passives existed with the Mythic Rageblade, Blade of the Ruined King, and others. It really wasn't that good for attack speed-centric item builds. In AP builds it was pretty decent, but still had yet more competition here. Many items give AP an ability haste, and the on-hit effect of it wasn't exactly amazing early game, and mythic power spikes tended to take priority over that, as did health. But something's different now. Night Harvester, my beloved, is gone, as with many AP ability haste items. And now ability haste is a bit of a rarity, at least compared to the mythic era. Nowadays, you have to choose whether you want pure damage in something like Storm Surge, or haste in something like Cosmic Drive. With Thresh, that ability haste means a lot, and since Nash's Tooth got to keep its ability haste, suddenly, there's not that much competition for it in the world of AP. So over years of underrating it, now I cannot deny it. Nash's is a superb item on Thresh, comparable even to the holy pinnacle of AD Thresh, Titanic Hydra. One of the reasons Titanic is so good is not only for its on-hit synergy, like Nash's, but its wave clear. It solves his otherwise very poor wave clear to allow better control of the wave for scoring priority and defending your turrets. Nash's has this too. No, not on some kind of new passive. It's right there. The AP. The ability power kicks Flay up a notch into a very competent wave clear, even if you still need to exercise some caution to not leave yourself open without it. The attack speed and on-hit also help clear up the rest of the wave, or even just a softer, less committed form of wave control so you can hold Flay for other purposes. Just like Titanic, Nash's is going to scale as the game goes on, helps your on-hit arguably more than Titanic does, and helps with wave clear. Since you still have that squishy downside, you can resolve that with your next few items. I suggest you choose wisely based on the game you're in, but Riftmaker is a great pairing even now. More health and the reward of Omnivamp work greatly for this Bruiser AP playstyle, and following up with healthy magic resist items like Abyssal Mask for the Shred or Koenig Rukern for the more AP heavy teams is a great idea, since Thresh's magic resistance is near non-existent. And for very heavy damage, Jackshow works a dream for defending against all sorts of things. Of course, that sounds sensible and boring. What about more AP items? Generally, anything fitting our health, AP, and ability haste profile will mostly fit. Cosmic Drive is a lovely item, and as is Liandry, so a bit more situational. You can sit back and rely on your souls to scale your damage, but boosting it further with something like Lichbane can work too. Zonias and Banshees are situational but very powerful defensive, offense-oriented purchases, even if they lack the sheer resilience of the aforementioned tank items. What's still brilliant about AP Bruiser Thresh today is that of all of the off-meta builds besides straight tank, it's probably the closest in playstyle to support Thresh. Just, you know, no ADCs in laning phase to baby. In the previous AP Thresh video, I didn't actually intend for that to be a build video, and focused on how building AP can change how you approach Thresh and be quite optimal for improving your skill shots. High ability haste items, durability, and the reward of shocking damage upon successful hook. makes the practice really fun and deliberate. There's no one to back you up like in bot lane, and you end up having an almost visceral need to land those hooks and use your cooldowns well. It's still a really fun exercise in this way, but also kind of effective. While the AD raid boss build is a great scaling split pusher who can still function well with Thresh's utility in a teamfight, AP Thresh has a bit more of a teamfight focus. With Nashors, your wave clear is fine, but fighting besides a carry to peel with your powerful abilities or leading the charge with hook picks are where the AP Bruiser Thresh build excels compared to the AD counterpart. Of course, this is still in the realm of Bruiser, and the full AD and full AP builds, though perhaps stupider, are also capable of excelling at particular things in different ways, even compared to the Bruiser builds. And then there's the final build we'll cover one day. So back to this build. It's very similar to the previous season, just instead often going for Nash's 2 first, though you can consider defense against certain matchups where you'll need it. You can consider basically all AP, HP and tank items as viable buys. It's pretty old school, but Sunfire or its magic resistance variant Hollow Radiance have great synergy with Abyssal Mask and even with Riftmaker, lowering the magic resistance so either Cinder item can burn brighter, while keeping a constant heal with a stacked Riftmaker. This combo can be built on any kind of tank really, but Thresh is a pretty good vessel, with 2 out of these 3 items fitting our preference for health, ability haste and magic damage. If you stuck to this guideline quite strictly, you could end up with Nash's Tooth, Riftmaker, Cosmic Drive, Abyssal Mask, Liandry's Torment, and your boots of choice, with potential swap outs of Hextech Rocket Belts for mobility, and you could even go Rod of Ages and Rhyla's Crystal Scepter as they fit the bill, but in my opinion they aren't the best choices. There's no need for slows when all your abilities already apply CC, and Rod of Ages can take a while to get going, and doesn't provide enough for Thresh to justify it, as the extra mana I find largely unnecessary. Item options that don't fit the guideline should be bought sparingly, like Deathcap, Zonias and Banshees, else you'll be too squishy or without enough haste to do what this build sets out to do, and then you'll be forced to sit back for hook ult combos, where you might as well have gone full AP from the start. Health, AP and ability haste are the kind of stats you'll enjoy, and after the first couple of core items, adapting to the game is what I'd suggest. It's easy enough to add an Oblivion Orb when needed, and something like Anathema's Chains can work excellently for pinning a carry down. As usual, these builds are for fun, or perhaps even for practicing a particular way in the case of the AP Thresh approach. Anyone who had it in mind to play something like this in Ranked is either so committed that I wouldn't worry about it, or they were going to play this or something else that's funky regardless. And I can name a whole lot worse than this build. So, at least if they're in your Ranked games, I didn't send them, okay? You know, at least they're not playing Lethality Leona. There's no definitive answer to whether AD or AP Thresh is better yet, but maybe we're closing in on an answer. Either way, there are still yet more builds to explore in this season, and the final build we arrive at might just be hitting some kind of fresh enlightenment. In any case, I now thank you very much for watching, and wish you the best of luck in your games, whether you choose to try this or not. See you next time. Special thanks to the members, AJBeat91, Warsquid, Ultimate Ground, Kaide, my dad, N-Era, Gentleman Zeta, Lunar Eagle 1996, 53rd Alabama Booty Obi-Wan Kenobi, AC Immortal, Mr. Noodle, and Baz1378. Thank you very much for supporting the channel.